You are deserving of happiness. You are deserving of healing. You are deserving of joy.
Whatever your dream is, whatever your passion is, work towards it. And put God first. God has to be in your life.
Wanted to use the skills and the training, hopefully to advocate on behalf of the community. I'm able to say that on Chop It Up. Be prepared to keep it real.
Hello and welcome to the Chop It Up podcast, the show that's unfiltered and unapologetic. Each episode will bring you closer to finding your purpose, so be sure to listen all the way through. Now, here's your host, Carmisha Superville.
Welcome back to the Chop It Up podcast. I am your host, Carmisha Superville, host of the critically acclaimed, award-winning Chop It Up podcast. As you guys know, this is the home of unfiltered conversation by today's change makers. You guys, I am so excited and super honored to have this conversation. This is someone that I absolutely admire. I just love her personality, and I am truly excited. I'm truly excited to see where she goes and how she flourishes in the next 5 years from now. So I'm just super excited and super honored to be speaking with a lovely young woman. She's a creative. She's a creative. She's an artist. She is also known online as Jada Cassidy Art. She has a beautiful array of artistry, from t-shirts to print art. She's going to speak a little bit more of her career and how she got where she is today. She's a young woman that is really inspirational, and I'm excited to have her join us on this podcast. Jada, welcome to Chop It Up. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much, Kamisha, for inviting me. I'm so excited for this opportunity.
Yes, I am so excited to have you. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. I know it's kind of like short notice, so thank you. And that is one thing I love about you, Jada, is the fact that you always show up. It's the fact that you are so in tune with understanding the fruits of success. Sometimes it's not always, it's not always like picture perfect. Sometimes we got to get there, and you are so in tune with that. So thank you so much for accepting, yes, the invitation. So Jada, you might be the youngest person we've had on this.
I'm excited.
Absolutely. But I love to speak to young people like yourself, because you guys are truly the generation that's coming up next. And it's so imperative that we create these spaces for you guys to talk about, life and journey and what you've been through. So tell us, before you tell us, I really wanted to share a quote. And I really love this quote, and I would love for you to tell the listeners a little backstory about why you chose this quote. So on your social media page, it reads,
Yeah.
a true artist is not one who is inspired, but one who inspires others. A true artist is not one who is inspired, but one who inspires others, by Salvador Dali. Tell us, why did you choose that quote, and how does that impact your life?
Well, first of all, before I say why I chose the quote, I know Salvador Dali is kind of like a controversial artist, but when I saw that quote, I mean, it just connected with me so much. Growing up, being a redhead, looking different, I always got bullied, and even with my personality, I can be very extra sometimes, very extroverted, and that people always made fun of certain things like that. And I was just so sad. Like, I just didn't want to be myself. I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to stand out. But as I grew up and I started taking control of my powers that God has given me, I've realized that I'm not made to fit in. I'm made to inspire others. I'm made to help other people understand that it's okay to be different. And I feel like that quote aligns with my business. It aligns with myself, my kid, just everything about me, That's how I
love
feel.
that. Yes. Oh no, girl, you're preaching. Let's go. Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And it's funny you said that you weren't designed to fit in because literally I just posted that this morning on one of my social media pages because I too have always been different, right? And I've been bullied. So it's funny, we actually share trauma. We have
Yeah,
shared trauma together.
that's so
But
funny.
no, yeah, I was bullied in junior high. So many people don't even believe me when I
Yeah,
talk about it. But I was bullied in junior high, and for me, I used to be like fearful to go out to play or to hang out with my friends because this one kid, he would bully me for just the way that I speak, my accent or whatever the case may be, and I hated it. But I learned to overcome it, and I learned to allow throughout life and journey I've learned to use that as a superpower. So I love that you spoke about that. That is so beautiful. So
thank
talk about, yeah, you're welcome. Talk about your art. Like I love your art. I'm always inspired by your social media and what you're doing. So how did you get your start and what keeps you inspired?
you. I've always been very creative from I was little. Like my mom's a photographer. I come from a very creative family. Um, but I will say that over like the beginning of COVID is when I started actually using my art to cope. I started actually just realizing like the talent I had with my artwork. Um, and that's just where my art just took over. I had a principal, my middle school principal. She saw my artwork and she was like, you have talent. You can create this into a business. And COVID was a time where everybody was trying something new. So that's when I was like, boom, like I can create this into a business. I can help people see the world in a different way. But I will say that my artwork is mostly used as a coping mechanism. I also will say that I get inspired by multiple different things. I get inspired by things that happen around me. I get inspired by my music that I listen to. I get inspired by myself, by my own emotions. Sometimes my emotions just take over and it just literally pours into a canvas. That's all like, yeah.
That's amazing. That is beautiful that you said that. And that is so organic that you spoke about a coping mechanism, right? So talk about that. Why do you use art as a coping mechanism? What are you coping from? If you care to share.
Um, I'm trying to put it in like a
Oh,
I think that I was coping with anxiety a lot. I was coping with I had a lot of anxiety. It wasn't easy for me to make friends. I was very insecure sometimes. I was very sad, depressed sometimes. I'm not afraid to say stuff like that because it happens with everybody. You get what I'm saying? Especially at that age. So yeah, it was mostly anxiety, feeling like I'm not fitting in still, insecurities, just feeling sad and down a lot of the times. That's yeah.
that's good. I love that. And thank you so much for your authenticity, even in this
Mhm.
space. Because Jada, and I have been speaking to my niece and my nephew, and I think what's happening now, which I wasn't really aware of, is that a lot of young
Mhm.
people are struggling with anxiety. I know my niece, and of course, we share that person in common, right? I know with her, she was telling me that, a lot of her friends are dealing and struggling with anxiety. So I want to ask you because I know that this conversation is broader and anxiety looks different for everyone's situation. But I want to ask you, what can adults do? What can we do to help young people that's struggling with anxiety, that's struggling with their thoughts, struggling with suicidal thoughts, struggling with, peer pressure, that's struggling with issues that we don't even know is going on? What can adults do?
Well, first I will say, because you brought out a key fact, sometimes you don't even know. Sometimes you don't even know what your kid is going through. What I would say is pay attention to your kid. Pay attention to certain things that are going on with your kid. Like if you're paying full attention to your kid and then they do a minor switch up, you can tell that something's wrong. And when someone's depressed, things start to spiral. So they might like stop hanging out with their friends, and then they might stop going to their activities and stuff. So it becomes a pattern. So if you're really focusing on your child, which it's still hard to tell sometimes with people, but when you pay attention to your child, you can see when your child is starting to go down. And I think you should make it an open conversation and tell your child that, people go through these things and this is okay. And we can find a way to fix it. Something that helped me a lot was self-help books.
Mm.
So I used to do therapy. I stopped doing therapy. But first, before I did therapy, I read self-help books. Even sitting down with your child and reading books like that. My mom used to buy me self-help books. Just sitting down, reading self-help books with your child, maybe discussing therapy, just little things like that. Speaking positive words to your child, opening up the floor to talk about how your child feels. And sometimes that's uncomfortable with certain parents. So if, I'd suggest therapy because some parents, it just doesn't, for them.
Yeah,
Like,
I love that. No, girl, listen, you need to take over my job because listen, okay. No, you're absolutely right. So what I heard is in terms of helping our young people that are struggling with anxiety, struggling with depression, what I heard from Jada is listening, looking at the patterns,
mhm,
right? Paying attention to your child, your relative, whatever the case may be, their patterns. And if you don't have the tools, if you don't have the tools in the toolkit, get support. Reach out
yeah.
and get support. Get some therapy going. Maybe get another family member involved, right? Being really active in that child's life. I love that. Thank you so much. So, Jada, I want to talk a little bit about how you inspire your peers. So, really quick,
Mhm.
I think one of the reasons why I also wanted to talk to you and provide you with this platform was, as you know, there's a lot going on in terms of young women and in terms of um, their interaction with their counterparts, which are their male counterparts. Most recently, a young lady here in the New York area was stabbed to death by an assailant, a young man, and he wanted her number. I believe he wanted her information, social media. She didn't want to provide it. I think she provided her Instagram. He still wanted to keep pressing her, and he stabbed her to death. And prior to that, there was another young lady that was attacked. She went into a wine shop to purchase wine. One of the young men came in behind her and asked her, "Hey, listen, I got you. I'll pay for that wine for you." And she said, "No, thank you. I got it." This young man then proceeded to attack her really brutally, obviously with his friends and so forth. So there's a lot of that happening, right? I want to ask you a question from your perspective as a young woman. What does discernment mean to you? Discernment. When you're in a situation that seems very tense, you may not know what's going on. What does discernment mean to you? And have you heard of those stories? Any of those stories that I mentioned?
Yes, I have heard about the one because the only reason I even heard about it was because, um, honestly, I don't know. Like in those situations, I would act the same way, just be calm and respectful, you know. But it's like this world is so messed up, even when you're nice and respectful, people still take advantage of you. So I don't even know how to respond to that. I will say that it is good to practice proper self-defense mechanisms. Like I'm planning to do boxing lessons soon, so I could, um, I'll say it's good to know how to deal with that. Like that's such, I don't know. It's it's
No, that's
beyond just
beautiful. No,
ridiculous.
exactly. And I love that. I love the fact that you said that, you know what, I'm planning on how to protect myself as well. And I wanted to have this conversation because a lot of young women, a lot of young people don't understand what discernment is. They don't understand when they're in situations that are very intense and how to get out of the situations. And to your point, you can do everything right. You can be so polite and still be attacked. So I wanted us to have this conversation. So some suggestions in real time that I'll suggest to you and any of our listeners. If you are in an intense situation, whether it be on the train, coming from school, or even in school, and you see things, you can clearly see that this argument is literally escalating. I would suggest cooler heads has to prevail. Cooler heads has to prevail, meaning try to get yourself out of that situation.
That is
Say,
so true. I'm sorry I have to cut you off. I feel like people these days, they just think like a fight happens, like, oh my goodness, I have to record. There's so much people who have passed away because they decided they wanted to record and be there. Whenever I see an argument happening, I immediately, like, I call somebody and be like, something's going on over there. And then I walk because I'm not going to be in the middle of that. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's so true. Like, sometimes people need to understand, like, get yourself out of that situation. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Because Jada, you know what's so crazy? I was just talking to my niece recently, and she was telling me in her school, like the school prior to where she's going right now, they fight every day. And so I asked her, I was like, girl, why are your classmates fighting every day? What are y'all so angry about? So I want to ask you, why are young people so aggressive these days? From what I see on social media, from what I'm hearing, speaking to my niece, it seems like y'all got a lot of issues. So what do you think is causing all this conflict? Not that it's new, but it just seems like it's more intense. It's like brutal now.
Well, from my perspective, like I said, from my perspective, I think that people are dealing with like really bad emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they're putting themselves around people, around situations, or they're feeding into like this negative stuff on social media, and then they think that certain things are okay. So then they just go and apply it. If you're constantly listening to music saying I'm gonna kill this person and this person, you're gonna wake up every day and feel like I want to kill this person and this person. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's what they consume a lot of the times, but I feel like what you're going through adds to that. Because if I'm really mad right now and I start listening to some music talking about I'm gonna beat up so and so and so, I'm gonna want to beat somebody up. So
That
it's those two combined to me.
I agree. I agree. I love it. I love it. So, with all that we are talking about and with all that we know, how are you? I want to bring it back to you. How are you empowering your peers? How are you empowering your community, your sphere of influence? What are you doing to make sure that the mindset of Jada, right? The mindset of progressive, the mindset of elevation, what are you doing to impact your peers?
Well, I will say I don't only impact people from my art. I want to do something in the psychology field. I'm looking at social work. So one of the things I do is I mentor kids at my school who are younger than me, who are going through social issues, you know, and just being nice and friendly. That's just something I try because people test me, but I try to be as friendly and nice as possible. I smile at people because you never know what somebody's going through, and that can help them so much. I will say when it comes to my business, I think one thing I teach people is that no matter what people tell you, you can do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You can be who you want to be once you just work hard at it. Number two, um, just from my art, I even tell people like my friends and stuff, I'll be like, doodle. When you're mad, doodle, you know, paint, draw. I try and show people that you can use art and so many other things to cope with your anger, to cope with how you feel instead of just lashing out. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I commend you for that. So, where do you see your artistry in the next 5 years? Where do you see your business going? And do you feel like you want this to also be something that it can snowball into a full-time career or maybe a passion project? I know you spoke about, social work and so forth. So, where do you see it going?
Um, I'd say in the next 10 years, not the next 5 years. I think in the next 5 years, I'll be in a few galleries, but the next 10 years, my main goal is to have my own gallery where I can do like passion projects, where I can sell my piece, sell young artist pieces, where I can do little like events for the community. That's really where I want my business to be. I want it to eventually like become full time. Yeah.
I
But
love
social
that.
work, I do have a passion for helping people and the whole psychology field. So I still or do I'm sorry. I'm thinking of also doing art therapy as well. So it's yeah.
No, that's what's up. That's big right now, especially in New York State. Like I heard this story of this one business owner. She just signed like a multi-million-dollar deal with the Department of Education selling her artwork. So like this piece of art you see behind me, like selling that stuff, that
Mhm.
type of work. And I was like, word. I was like, wow. So keep it up and definitely seek out those opportunities because that might be a career path that's evolving in the next 5, 10 years,
Right.
because people are dealing with a lot of emotional issues. So this can help with emotional therapy, emotional enhancing emotional intelligence and so forth. So that's
Right.
amazing. So, okay, all right. I love that. I love that. What is your overall message for young people? As a young person yourself, what is your overall message?
I think my overall message, and I know I say it so much, it comes right back down to the Salvador Dali quote. It's okay to be different. It's okay to not do what everybody's doing. It's okay to branch out. It's like people think that they have to fit into a stereotype or they have to be what everybody's being. No, it's okay to be different. It's okay to step out. And that's just my motto. That's the whole reason I made the Made to Inspire thing. I just want people to know like it's okay. It's okay to just be you. Yeah.
I love that. Absolutely. And I agree. I agree. So recently, as we conclude, recently you had the opportunity, and I had the opportunity to see you shine at the International Women's Conference, where you did a fabulous job. And I love the fact that you brought another young person with you as well. So talk a little bit about your experience because, I know this was your first time being an exhibitor, but talk about your experience as an exhibitor and also what you experienced throughout the day.
It was amazing. I mean, even some of the vendors, one of the vendors next to me, I'm sorry, I forgot her name. She was so sweet. She helped me out. She was encouraging me, saying she was proud of me. A lot of people came by, saying, I'm so proud of you. And it's just like, the event was amazing. Even seeing so much empowering women, the high positions that they're in, 2020, it's 2024, and still in my head, I'm like, that's a woman can do that. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw all these powerful women, it was just so nice to just be in that room. It was amazing.
That's great.
And I
Yes.
want
No,
to
it was.
thank you again. I want to thank you for like having me there. It was so much fun. Yes.
I am so honored to have you as a guest. I was excited. Thank you for being there. Thank you for accepting, and definitely thank the Neva Alliance for providing the platform because they
Yes.
actually did everything. Dr. Neva, shout out to her. All right, Jada. Well, listen, you were such a fabulous guest. I am hoping that you come back on in the next 10 years.
Of course. You'll be the
Definitely.
first one I shout out. You know that.
Facts. You know what I'm saying? When you get to the $1 million, don't forget the little people. The million and beyond. All right, so listen, as we wrap up, finish this sentence. I know I can.
I know I can.
Well, I don't want you to finish the sentence. I want you to fill it in. So I know I can.
With like my own line? Or am I supposed to know that? Okay.
No, yeah, just fill it online.
I know I can achieve my goals.
Mm, yeah. I know I can, and I will be okay because of women and young women like you. I know I can. Thank you. Thank you for sharing space with me today on this amazing podcast. Thank you for your organic conversations. I want to wish you success. I want to also admonish you to continue to push forward It doesn't matter how hard the days or the journey or the process is, because trust me, it's going to be difficult. And there are going to be days that, yeah, you're going to suffer more than anxiety. But remember this space. Remember what you're doing and your ultimate goal. I know I can achieve success. And whatever that success is, only you can define it. Only Jada Cassidy can define it. All right, my love?
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you. So as you wrap up, as we say goodbye to the listeners, I know you're working on something exciting. Share with the people, let the people know what you're doing this
Oh,
summer.
okay, so this summer we're hosting a event for small businesses and artists to just come out and network and get to know each other. It's just about empowering the youth. Me and Zaria, the owner of Blossom Beauty, we're hosting the event with the help of Kamisha and other vendors. And it's just going to be so amazing. It's going to be so beautiful. And I can't wait. I can't wait to feel the energy and the vibes and see all the people. There will be food, there will be live entertainment, there will be activities, games. It's going to be so much fun, guys. Come out.
And this event is for who?
The youth and young
That's,
businesses. It's a place to
that's
just network. And it's going to be June 30th.
love it, love it. Well, I'm going to be there. I'm definitely going to be there, and I am so happy to support you guys. And I love the fact that you all came up with this idea on your own. So kudos to you guys, and keep doing what you're doing. All right, Jada Cassidy. I would love to say she's an artist, she's a change maker, and she's one of our future social worker or social professionals, like extraordinaire. I'm so excited to see your journey, my love. Continue to do great things, and we will hear from you. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Chop It Up podcast. We truly love you. We hope that you were inspired by this episode. Please follow Jada online, and of course, we're going to share all her information at the end of the episode, and we will see you on the next episode. Bye, you guys.
Bye.